We live.
All right, so you ready?
I'm ready. This is 05, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
It don't matter. It's not original.
Well, that's okay
I
though.
know.
Like, I mean, body-wise, that puts us in for specific. The 05
Yeah.
puts us in what, pre-electronic throttle?
Yes, it's the last year before electronic. So this is like the revised AP1, as they call it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's got all the updates. It's got all the new, and then that was what, because the 07 went to electronic throttle, I think, at that
06.
point. 06?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I bought my AP2 specifically because I wanted the electronic throttle.
This guy.
I know. All right, so let's open up. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another one. We are out here. I know. I've already done an S2000, but this is way different.
I love how they look when they're all tracked out,
full track prep.
When they've done the full transformation from a stock body to like it's this. You know what it's about.
Yeah, exactly. This is all business. This is all fun. You guys know how I do. Sometimes it's just a long day. We gotta do what we gotta do. Listen. Oh yeah. All right. So while we're doing this, I'm not sponsored yet, but if the Ghost wants to hook me up, like
That'd be nice.
They can just send me a pallet.
All the red eyes you take for all the events.
All the events I go to, all the flights I'm taking to get you guys all this content. We're gonna have fun. So Mr. McRib 47 over here is gonna introduce the car real quick.
All right, so we have a 2005 S2K. It's an AP2. For those that don't know what AP2 is, it's the later gen after the AP1, which was notorious for the 9K F20C motor. This got an F22, which was also only in the US, the F22.
So now there's a trade-off here.
Yes.
And that's kind of one of the arguments. So
It
creates
a division.
Oh yeah. There's this hardcore line right here in between the AP1s and the AP2s, in between the F20s and F22s.
Correct.
Okay. In between 9K and not 9K.
Yeah.
There's always this little thing. So AP1, 2 liter.
2 liter.
9K.
Which,
and it always wanted to kill you.
Which was kind of impressive.
Which was kind of fun.
I forgot it held the record for most horsepower per liter. The only company that to beat it was a Ferrari, which that says a lot about Honda's engineering. Mr. Honda started off as making motorcycles, and look what it is now.
Yeah, just absolutely incredible. Now we've got an AP2, as we were saying. So this is definitely the
revised,
the revision.
Yeah, because a lot of people like to say it was I don't want to say dumbed down, but I say revised.
Well, they took. Sorry, you guys, I've had both. Okay, they took away some of the rawness.
Yeah.
They made it a little bit more civil. Okay, they took away that 9K run. They took away, they made it a little easier to drive.
They added an extra cup holder.
But getting back to topic. Okay, so we got 2 things here. We have a fully race prepped, fully race prepped. I mean, we got cage, we got Recaros, we got harness. Okay, you can see full aero. And then you guys, this owner did something a little different. And we're going to show you under the hood. So this, I mean, you guys are going to see it. You're going to see the title. You guys are going to kind of understand, okay? Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about that later because that's super fun. And when we talk about this, we'll bring the owner over and we'll talk a little technical here. And in the comments, guys, I want you to light these comments up, okay? I want to know about AP1 versus AP2. I want to know whether or not y'all love the evolution of where this car's gone, okay? Because that's how I kind of feel about this.
Yeah.
So when these cars first came out, we had, again, like we said, the F20. We had, we were making 120, horsepower per liter. It was the biggest and baddest, really that had ever been made in that size engine and that. Okay, so then we moved to the F22.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a revision.
Yes, revised, you know, less accidents.
A little bit more civil, we'll say. In the F22, it made a little bit more low-end torque, which everybody was happy about that.
Yep.
But then it sacrificed it on the top end because it no longer made 9K.
That's what it was notorious
It's all
about.
9K.
Yep.
Like I'm sorry. Like if I'm in an EK9, if I'm in, like, it's all about that 9K. Just and it sounds like you got to wait for it to get up there.
It's a long road. You just hang in there.
But you're up in that 5K range. You know, VTEC opens up depending on your tune and where you got it. You know, you know, if you're lucky enough to be in 5K instead of what 6,500 or something like that. You guys will kill me in the comments on that. I know you'll be like, it's 62 and a half. You know, I don't know. You know how it goes. But that run, you know, from your 5-6K to 9, 5-6K to 9, and you know, you'd shift, you'd keep it in there, and you just that tone, that VTEC,
that crossover.
I don't care which car it is, but that VTEC tone, that crossover.
I think that's what got everyone hooked on
that
VTEC, and then you hear the VTEC kicked in, and that's just like what.
Oh yeah, I mean there was an absolute entire thing about you know. VTEC kicking in, VTEC,
I don't know. Like I remember I experienced my first VTEC, and when I experienced my first VTEC in an S2, I was like, "Whoa, dude, this thing's serious. This F series."
And it's ready to run.
Yeah, you just go.
It's ready to run. Okay, so we're gonna start talking some technical. I mean, as you guys can see, we've got the CR front lip. We have the race bred, which you guys, if you guys remember mine, I did the race bred, but I didn't have enough. I don't know. I wasn't courageous enough to go with this much extension on it. Like my race spread, I think was like a 2-inch. I think is what it was.
This
is like a 3.5, 4-inch here. We'll get the technical 4-inch. 4-inch is what I'm getting in the background. So I was right on my measurement there. So we have the little stabilizers on the side. And then this is something new that everybody's been doing. I didn't do it on mine, but this dam here, okay, because if you guys don't know on the CR lip, as it comes around, it'll fit nice and tight through here, but there's this little gap that comes up right here, and it straight just sucks in air, okay? And you know, the name of the game when you're doing this is all controlling the air, where it goes, everything else. And this, on most all cars, is wasted. I did my own thing, and it was something that nobody ever gets to see, but I literally put brake ducts under here. So I had 2 scoops, and the scoops then directed the air to brake ducts, which made it functional. The owner here chose to block it, so you're not getting any air interruption, anything here. It all goes into the radiator where it's supposed to be. I absolutely love that he's missing the grill.
Oh, everyone misses that little plastic.
Grill. Yeah. I had the hardest time keeping my clips and keeping my grill there. It would never happen. Like, I mean, you can't tell, you know, like on mine was always pushed. And every time I'd go someplace, every time I'd stop, I'd have to pull it forward and try and make it hook. And it never would. Yeah. So as funny as, you know, most of the S2K owners. Woo! Hold on.
Funny. S2.
Much better. Okay, so most of the S2K owners, I had to slow down.
Yeah.
They do this. They just remove it. I mean, it's by far the easiest. Either you break the tabs, you break the clips, whatever. So, I absolutely love it. And as you guys know, anytime you have a purpose-built track car, look, it doesn't need to be a show car. Okay, this car is beautiful. Okay, but this car sees track life. This car was at the track 2 weeks ago. This track will be at the car next week. I mean, 2 times a month, 3 times. I don't know. Like, he's literally at the month. We'll talk to him in a minute. Like, I don't know. So we've got a couple quick releases. We have the extensions and the flares. Both front and rear.
Those are J's.
He's got the J's. Sorry. We weren't to the technical part yet.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
We're to the technical part. We're just kind of talking. All right, so we've got the vented hood with the bump, which means it's J's.
Yeah.
we have the vented fenders, which we'll get to it and we'll see if they're OEM fenders or if you went with the extended ones. I had tried the extended ones on mine. I had, I forget what the brand is at the moment, but mine were like a plus 22. And I tried them because I wanted as super wide as I could get. And for me, I just didn't like the fitment of them. For a race car, these body lines are really good. Like these gaps and everything else are really good.
Yeah.
Okay. APR mirrors, looks like the same tiny, tiny, tiny little mirrors I had that you can't see because they go like this just a little bit. And like, I had a halo seat too. So like mine was surrounding me here and I had this little mirror and I was like, they look great. Okay. They really do. They're about this functional, but they look great. The same size they are is how functional they are. Now, we talk functional. I'm going to show you guys this rear wing because, man, that's, you know, that's, as we say, a big wang, okay? Like, it definitely is. Mm-hmm. You can see how big it is because he got serious when I started talking about it, okay? But we'll run through, all right? And I'll show you guys, we'll talk about the interior, we'll talk about the roll bar. Like I said, he's got a couple Recaros in here, which is great. He's running the Schroth harnesses, which again, that's all premium, okay? I like the idea with the Recaros because they're still comfortable. I had a really hard time with my Halo. Like, it was great on the track, but every other time I had to drive it, I absolutely wanted nothing to do with it. Of course, okay? Of course, we're on a set of TEs.
Yeah, that's like the best wheel.
Like I don't even care. You know, besides the fact that person could have went a different direction, but that's okay. like we're cool.
All
we're
the
cool.
spots
Like he could have went
There's
everywhere.
one right behind him.
It's all good.
He wanted to be in the video.
Good. Yeah. So, but the TEs and the TE fitment on here is beautiful. Okay. You guys know in the comments, we've talked about this previously. A ton of people have asked about the white. I swear the white TE looks good on any car you put it on.
Yeah.
I don't care. It looks awesome on a black car. It looks awesome on a silver car. It looks awesome on a white car.
Yeah.
Okay. Like pick a color car, and you guys drop in the comment if you seriously think that there's a car out there
that these wouldn't look good on.
These don't look good, especially white ones. Okay. Especially I don't know what it is about the white TEs, but like if you actually think that there's a car, and I'm sure somebody's got a picture of it somewhere. Drop that in the comment. Let's talk about that, okay?
Yeah.
I think what we should do is we bring the owner over. Let's talk a little technical about what we see on the outside, what we just haven't talked about. And you guys know I've been teasing about it. We're gonna talk about what's under the hood. You guys either read through the description already. You saw what the title. You saw what the title said. You've seen this car on track. But are we just gonna? Nah, I don't even want to say what it is yet. I don't want to say. So if you guys haven't said and you've clicked on it, you've lasted this long. You're gonna last just a little bit longer. We're gonna talk about it, okay? Yeah, I like the new banner too. I like this banner.
Looks good.
I like this banner. All right, so
Bring the.
let's bring the owner over, guys. Let's bring him over. Everybody in the background, do your little clap. You know. You guys switch sides, whichever side you guys want to be on. Let's talk about it.
So what are we going to talk about first?
So I don't want to talk about the engine first. I want to save the engine.
The front end?
All right, let's talk about the front end.
Yeah.
Okay. OEM CR bumper with this OEM CR lip.
Oh, so you pay big money.
Actually, I've had this bumper for like 15 years. It was like $400 15 years ago.
Man, that's crazy.
I know, right?
That's crazy.
How long have you owned the car?
So I'm the original owner.
Wait,
coming on.
Original owner. Okay, here, you guys come over on this side. You guys come over on this side.
You want to hold it, bud?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you guys can talk. So, original owner, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, bought a brand new 2005. One of my first kind of big purchases as a man. Yeah.
Wow.
It's exciting.
Okay, so I wish I could say I still had my original. Well, no, I don't really want my original car, but I wish I could say that I was still an original owner. That's really okay. So, was the S2000 always a car you wanted?
Oh yeah. I mean, I grew up as a Honda kid.
Okay.
In the 90s, you know, just that was kind of the most affordable, functional vehicle at the time.
Did you go through the Civics?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I went through like 6, 7, 8 Civics before I graduated to this thing.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, so you ran through the Honda line.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then you but it's a graduation.
It is.
Because by far this was the fastest. This was a sports car that was attainable.
Yeah.
You know, we had the NSX. But like but it was always like 90K.
Yeah, it was a bit out of reach, right?
Like, yeah, you know, especially as a kid, okay?
Yeah.
It was always out of reach. Like you couldn't, you know. So this was, I mean, shoot, I would go toe to toe with the NSX with this. Like really.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have, I mean, mad props for an OEM CR lip, okay? Because we all know how much they are
Nowadays.
Like these are expensive. You can't even find them, really. You know. So as much as my CR lip looked good, it wasn't a true CR lip, okay? I'll be honest, okay? It just wasn't. It just wasn't. All right, so we did the CR lip, we did the race bred.
Yeah, so the whole front aero setup is a race bred 4-inch splitter. I have splitter tunnels. I have the side diffusers. I have the tire spats.
Yep. These make a huge difference.
Yeah.
I love the tire spats.
Yeah, I mean it makes it look better.
Yeah.
So
well, and you get and it helps alleviate some of the poke.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
it's all for the game of aero, right?
Yeah.
Aerodynamics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my front aero setup. Voltex flares front and rear, track spec fender vents. That's actually a dry carbon fiber hood, which is actually lighter than the OEM aluminum hood, which is really impressive. Exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
A lot of the your general carbon fiber hoods are actually heavier than the OEM aluminum hood.
It's hard to justify getting rid of the aluminum hood,
Yeah.
and that's why on a lot of these you'll actually see the stock hood, and they'll cut this vent out of them.
Yeah,
they do,
and they cut the little vent, and they run the vent
it
just
goes like into a gradient.
The skeleton underneath actually has the pre-cuts for you.
The layout for
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, all right, so we with dry carbon, which is
carbon.
again, all right. So you see what we're getting at here, okay?
Yeah.
We see what we're getting at. Nice and simple inside, which is exactly how it should be. You got Recaro seats.
Yes, Recaro pole positions, and as you mentioned earlier, you know, ideally I would want a halo seat since it's a pure functional built track vehicle.
Yep.
But man, the vision sucks.
You can't see anything.
Yeah.
The halo.
Sucks.
The halo is like this.
Yeah, and it's so already tight in there.
Yeah.
That's one thing I actually made a compromise on, is not running a halo, because in a sense it actually makes it more dangerous outside of the racetrack.
Yeah. If you have to drive this car to and from anywhere, like it's funny because the combination, I absolutely love these mirrors. I got the same ones on
the APRs.
on mine, but the combination of this little mirror and like when you have a halo in there, like, so you guys, if you haven't been in a race seat, or especially like a halo seat, it's meant to hold you in. Okay, the halo comes around and it's supposed to protect your head, you know, side impacts and everything else, so your head doesn't go bouncing around. Okay, it's the same reason basically laterally that you wear a Hans for front to back. So when you have your Hans unit on and you're strapped down, you know, you can't whip your head forward. So the halo is for that left to right. But man, like I in mine I had a Sparco.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see. So when I would drive, if I had to change lanes, I would go like this.
You would have to duck,
and I would duck a little bit to try and see. It was the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I've driven in a Hans seat in other vehicles. I couldn't imagine how tough it is in this little cabin.
But when you're on track.
Oh no,
when you're on track, because it was funny for a little bit. I had the stock seat in the passenger side and my halo, and I would take passengers for a ride, and I was so planted in that seat, and I would just watch their limbs like go everywhere in the stock seat. So the pole positions I love. I got a pole position sitting at the house waiting to go in a car. Okay, I don't know. You guys saw I tried to mount that in my Miata. If you guys haven't seen, that's the funniest, worst thing in the world. I went through 3 different seat bases, 2 different seats. I wanted that Recaro to fit in that Miata so bad, and I just couldn't find a seat base. But back to this. Sorry. We were, I got project cars. We're not done. I love the vents.
Yes.
I love the vents.
So, I mean, it all kind of works together,
Pre and post on the vents, did you notice a difference?
Well, when I did my aero package, I kind of did all at once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I tried to, it was kind of like this whole Lego build, you know? Like, you can't have a front splitter and not have fender vents, because they kind of work together.
They do. They 100% do.
Same thing with the vented carbon fiber hood. I mean, it's all in the sake of better downforce.
100%.
Yeah. So those are OEM fenders with Vortex flares, and honestly, it's cut the fuck up underneath.
It looks so good.
But it looks good.
Yeah.
But if you guys haven't had a track car, that's the way track cars are.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% okay with that. I love that about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So which roll bar are you running?
So that's a Rockstar 4-point roll bar.
Beautiful.
Bolt-in.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's basically a replica of the other brand that originally built it. I can't remember the name of the brand. But yeah.
I had the same setup in mind. It was funny because I tried to get mine welded.
Yeah.
And when I went to a couple different places to get it welded, they were like, "Cool, man, we'll weld the front."
Yeah.
Okay, because the front comes down over kind of the hump.
The
but
bulkhead
the rear,
in the back, yeah.
But the rear is like on either side of the gas tank.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get anybody to weld it. I'm like, but the gas tank, and they're like, the gas tank's just below it. I'm not welding it.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to bolt the rear.
Yeah.
And I welded the front.
Oh shit.
Which still works.
Right.
Which still works. So, I absolutely loved it. Now, as we move around to the back here, what is this monster of a wing that you have?
So this is a RS Feature LM wing. 68-inch length. It's a pretty big wing, especially for an NA application, an all-motor vehicle. But the way I saw it, the bigger the better. I could develop and build the car around it. Versus buying a smaller wing and having to go bigger at a later time.
Technically, you're still like within most of the time attack values and everything else.
68 is not actually that.
No, it's literally on the body line.
Right, because of the length of the width of the S2000 is not that wide, but it looks so fucking big. Because
it looks gigantic. It looks gigantic. And you know, end plate wise, the end plates aren't overly. They're a nice size.
Yeah.
And then I did the same thing. I went with a gurney flap and had a huge improvement.
Yeah.
Now I didn't get anything for gas mileage. Okay, after I put the gurney flap on. But for downforce, for downforce, this brought me like at Laguna Seca. So front straightaway, coming under the bridge where you have that kink, and you have the kink right before it comes down this way.
Yeah.
When I put the gurney flap on, I didn't have to lift. Okay, without the gurney flap, I would get to that point and I would want to lift a little bit because the rear end would get just a little light coming over that.
Yeah.
And it was scary.
Yeah.
Like, cause you're doing like a $120, if you're in a natural, if you're in a natural S2000, you're doing around, 110, 115, 120 if you get a really good exit. And coming up over that, like it gets loose and it's all downhill.
Yeah, it gets a bit floaty there.
It's full pucker. Mm-hmm. Like it's full pucker. So I mean, you know what I'm saying.
I mean, I've lost a bit of straight line speed.
Yeah.
But it's for the sake of better cornering speed.
And you have adjustment on your attack angle.
Yeah, and honestly, the way my car drives, I have to fight understeer.
Yes, I did. Yeah. I did too. I had to fight understeer on mine. And what I found was that with the understeer, I actually, which it makes no sense to most people that talk about this, is that I would actually chew up my front tires before I chewed up the rear tires on my S2000.
That's very actually common for a track S2000.
Yeah, so it was
Which
amazing.
is strange to think about because an SUV, a rear-wheel drive,
because a rear-wheel drive car,
snappy over.
Yeah,
straight.
so like that was one of the things. So I had, you know, I had 2 full sets of wheels that I would run, and what I found is my fronts would last me 2 track days, maybe 3. And what I would do is I would run the fronts on a hardcore track day. I'd run the fronts. The very next track day, they would move to the rears.
Yeah.
And then I would either move the rears to the front,
and they're
or
square,
I would bring
right?
another
you had a
set
square
in.
setup?
Or I'd
Okay.
I was running a square setup.
Okay.
And that was one of the purposes for running the square setup.
Because of how fast the front.
Oh, I was out of the front tires within two track days. You know, I ran AO52s.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I ran that cheater 200 series.
Yeah, I mean it's still very fast compound. Yeah.
Like you said.
Now for the wing. Okay.
Yeah.
One, if you guys don't know who RS Future is, take a second. Yeah, look up Amir. Amir is ridiculously fast. Okay, I don't care what car he gets in. I mean, his car is stupid fast, but like time attack, everything else, he is a driver. I mean, he's a scientist too, really. Like super incredible. I'm not getting paid by him at all. But when it comes to aero and it comes to him driving, like he's really impressive. Like he's one of those top guys. He really is. So what you guys can't necessarily see from here is there's a big hole right here, sir.
Yeah, right through the trunk.
there's a big hole right here.
Mean, you can see how big the wing is. You know, but the S2000 trunk, it's aluminum. It's same as the hood. It just couldn't take all of that, you know, that downforce. So ideally, you kind of want to chassis mount your wings.
So this goes all the way in.
It does.
You no longer have a functional trunk.
No. Yeah.
You no longer. But that's okay.
It's totally.
But that's okay.
Totally okay.
Yeah. So like, and I mean, technically it's just 4 bolts if you really needed to get into the
you're
trunk.
right. Yeah,
it's not bad.
I did have to drive to the track a couple times without towing it, and it's 4 10mm nuts and bolts.
Yeah, and it's not bad. But what you get out of this is you get so much rigidity, and look, guys, you guys can see me. Like, I'm not actually acting like this, and that's laterally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, imagine.
So imagine downforce coming down this way, okay? I got lucky on mine, and I mounted mine out here on the edge.
The outside edge.
And I had, 3.5-inch risers, I think, on mine. So mine came up to just under the top of the roof line, like almost the window. Yours, you can actually see out the back. I mean,
I can. Oh yeah.
You can actually see out
I still
the
have
back.
Great visibility. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like on mine, I had none. Like it was like right here.
Yeah, I think the money height is about 295 millimeters.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it's just
right at the roof line.
Yes, yeah. That's so like right as you come over across. Now, no insult or anything else. Mugen style.
Yes.
Okay.
VIS.
Okay.
Yeah, this hardtop is like 15 years old,
So
at the time
it
was the only manufacturer that actually made a replica.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. So the thing is one, OEM one is heavy.
Yes.
Okay. The OEM one is beautiful. Okay. But when you're doing track days and all that stuff, the OEM one is heavy.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get awesome visibility, everything else, the fitment, no noise, none of that stuff. But it's heavy. Okay. Yeah. Now they do make one now that's not OEM, but it's an OEM style carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because I like the visibility and everything else on that. I had the exact same hardtop.
Yeah.
I had the exact same hardtop. I went through the struggles of trying to get it to seal, trying to get it not to make noise,
It took me at least 5-6 times to get rid of the wind noise.
Yep.
The gaps. But eventually it kind of molded itself in to my car. So the wind noise right now is very minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
No, and the thing is once you get to this point, like, the car makes so much noise.
Yeah.
Like,
wind noise is the least of your worries.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we didn't talk about exhaust. What exhaust are you running?
It's an HKS 3-inch, a 75 millimeter with
nice.
the resonator removed.
Okay.
With the resonator in, it was just a bit too quiet for the track.
Yep.
So I removed the resonator, and it sounds 10 times better.
You don't hear that very often, where you say it's too quiet for the track. But that's a true statement.
It is.
So there's a tone, and there's it's performance. There's a volume that needs to come out of the exhaust. When you have the resonator in and everything, it's restricted. It is. So we got carbon rear diffuser.
Yeah, it's a Jay's Racing diffuser, a replica. I mean, it is a track vehicle. I'm not going to destroy a $2,000 original Jay's
there
Racing
is
replica.
Absolutely no reason
and
to.
that's pure cosmetics for looks. I bought it for $100.
Oh man, you're up on that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So what do you run for? We said they're TEs, okay?
Yeah. So this is my street setup, actually.
Okay. What's the street setup?
So this is an 18 by 10 plus 40 TE37s SLs, and this is my street setup. For my track setup, I run 17 by 10s with this almost the same specs. RPF 11710s plus 38.
Okay.
255 tire. This is a 265 tire, and I run low. I like my car tucked. So,
it's perfect.
Yeah. So I run a 17-inch, 17 by 10 255 tire for the track, and it's more than the grip. It has plenty of grip.
On an NA application.
On an NA car, right?
On an NA application, that's exactly what I ran. I ran 255 squared, which is the money application for the S2000.
Agreed.
Okay, we can fight about that in the comments. Okay, but 255 squared. Not only that, but the cost of the tire is so much better.
That's another reason why I run 17s. It's ridiculous on how much 18
from the
17
to the 18.
Yes.
100%. 100%. And but now, so if you were running more of this on the track, then that would be different. If you were running, we'll say a 285 squared, something stupid, like that, then that would be different. But a 255 squared is a 17.
Agreed.
All day.
It is.
All day.
It's perfect, the 255 tire for all motor S2000. You don't need anything bigger.
No.
Yeah. Fight me in the comments.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
So my and it was really awesome to hear that you also fight with understeer.
Yes.
So that's one of those things that's really awesome to hear is that you fight with understeer on the thing, because that was something that I always thought that I had a problem with. I always thought I was one of the only S2000s that would struggle with understeer out there. So it's actually kind of interesting that's how it goes, especially on the 255. Now, what tire do you normally run on the track?
I've tried, all the top tier 200 treadwear street tires, the AO52s, Nanking CRSs.
Do you have a preference?
I do, but I feel that it's more of a personal preference.
It is.
As far as lap times, I like the Nanking CRSs because they're a bit more durable than the AO52s.
Okay.
And the new Bridgestone RE71 RSs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's my current track tires, the 71 RSs.
Okay.
But previously, I had 2 sets of the CRSs, and I feel that I could get a little extra couple laps. On the CRS.
So once you warmed them up, and you were happy, and you're like, I'm going to hit a hot lap.
It's actually pretty equal, grip for grip.
But you would get another couple laps of duration.
Right. It has a heat a little better with the CRSs.
That's
but
interesting.
It's not to talk shit on the 71
No,
RSs.
of course not.
Yeah.
And so I ran the RE71s.
Yeah.
Okay, and this was before they had
compound.
the RS.
Yes, and those are great fucking tires.
Oh, they were awesome.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But what I found with them was once they got hot,
they grease out.
They were so bad.
Yeah.
They were just they would like that's exactly what I found. So the AO52s, although duration wise didn't last me as long, so for me, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of a slow mover on the track. Like my first 3 laps were like really like I'm just gonna put some heat in the tires. My next 3, so that's supposed to be about 6 laps in, now I'm starting up to temp. By my 6th or 8th lap, now I'm in it. Which is funny because a lot of people after maybe their first or even second lap, they're like, let's go.
Yeah.
And so like they would do it. And then for me, anytime I was out on a track, which is also one of the reasons I like full open track days and not sessions. Because if you do sessions, by the time for me, I would get to the 6th or 8th lap, I would only get a couple. And then they're like, cool, session's done.
Especially if there's traffic too. You got to fight through the traffic.
Yeah, because you've already caught up with them at that point. So, okay, so that actually is great information for me because I like that, I usually when I go out, even if I meet up with an S2000 person, I usually don't get that same feedback. So that's really interesting to me. It's a ton of data.
Yeah.
It's a ton of data.
A lot of trial and error. Data. Yeah. You got to read your data.
Yeah.
You also own this. Like you're the OG owner. You know everything about it. You touch every bolt.
So, all right. The big thing that we haven't talked about, and we've got everybody to hang out this whole time and everything else, is we have something different under the hood.
Yeah. So
what happened? So what happened?
Okay. So some background to that. So my car it's a pure track car. It's been on track for I would say about 30 to 40 track events before the F22 popped.
Okay. And that's fair.
The crank seized, basically.
Oh, man.
And what happened, the thrust bearing actually literally dropped out into my oil pan. And if you know, thrust bearing failure is from crank walk.
Yeah.
Right, the crank moving.
Yeah.
So, I'd gone through 3-4 different clutches on the engine. And, from just...
Wow, that's a lot of clutches. Yeah, that's a lot of clutches.
Yeah, so eventually the heavy duty clutches fucked it up. And it is what it is.
Yeah, it comes
so
with the motorsport.
right. I was at, the deciding factor. Go back to the F22.
Yeah.
Long blocks are $5-6 grand, or should I?
So that's one of the
move to
issues.
the dark side.
So that's one of the issues with these, and it's gotten. I know. Yeah. So we don't have an LS under here, okay? Well,
it's still
maybe. No, but so that's one of my biggest issues, especially now, is engine-wise. Well, one, you're not getting back to the 20s anymore. You're not getting back to the F20s, so it's going to be an F22 now.
Yeah.
Okay. The cost for an F22,
Long block.
is so expensive.
Unknown condition.
Unknown condition. Offer up.
And they're so expensive.
Yeah.
They're so expensive. So tell everybody what's in here.
It's a K24.
Bam! K-swap the
K24.
world.
Yeah.
Okay. It's still Honda. It's not an LS. Okay. I'm sorry for you guys that are crying that it's not an LS. But K-swap the world. I don't think there's a car, again, just like we said about these TEs. You guys, tell me a car that the K doesn't make sense in.
They're putting in Porsches. They're putting in NSXs.
Okay.
They're putting in Miatas.
Okay. My GTR, I don't want a K-swap in, okay?
Hey,
but that's because
you said it would look good.
It would. Hey, the K-swap in a 34 GTT is awesome.
It's not an R.
Is awesome, but not in the GTR. Okay, that all-wheel drive, that low-end torque. Now, we're gonna hit the hate comments. Which engines do you like better in this car?
The F22, much more durable engine.
Okay.
You could kind of feel the quality in it, the way it revs.
Yep.
You feel much more comfortable at 8,500
right at the
RPM,
top,
just pinging off the red line.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I don't feel too comfortable doing that with this K24.
That is.
But that's the trade-off.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And if you know of. If you're familiar with K24 swaps, a lot of guys would remove the balance shaft K24 oil pump and swap it in for a K20 oil pump because
the rev.
For the revs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
from that exchange alone, it's gonna create crazy vibration. The NVH is through the roof.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can we pop the hood?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's pop the hood.
Do I have to pull the latch?
Yeah.
Once you're done.
Yeah. Let me do the pins and pop the hood.
All right, so we're gonna pop this hood.
That was aggressive.
Dry carbon
It's light.
doesn't weigh anything, and it looks like it's at home in there.
It does.
Like
I mean,
it really.
If you're
does.
not familiar with this car, it looks factory.
Okay.
Yeah.
The guys kill me in the comments. Everything else, we know that. Okay. I have walked by a couple S2000s and just been like bang, 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 and. Yes, there's differences.
Yeah.
But when you just see kind of that red valve cover and you just kind of go by.
That's a big reason why I was stick with the red cover, valve cover.
Yeah.
You know? Still has that F22 DNA.
It does still have a little, like, it still has that little
and
bit of
Type
feel.
R-ish
It's
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Now, are you running just a stock block?
So when I first did the swap, it was just basic bolt-ons, intake, header, exhaust, and I put down 225 wheel horsepower, which is actually equal to my F22. Like,
That's
right
great.
on the money.
That's great.
Yeah, with my F22, I put down 225 as well.
Okay.
So, drove it for about 2 years. You know, what's the point of having a K-series if you're gonna not modify it, right?
Yeah.
So right now, I just threw in the drag cartel drop-in cams, and I made my own 4-inch coder intake. And from those two mods alone, I gained 30 horsepower. So I make 255.
That's huge.
Yeah, I make
On an NA?
On an NA.
On an NA?
I make
That's
255.
That's huge.
Yeah. Just from 2 modifications alone.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's incredible. Now, no front strut bar.
No.
Not enough room.
Exactly. So
Not enough room.
The engine's very tall. I would love to have a shock tower bar just so I could have something to hold on to while I'm working in the engine bay. Yeah, but it doesn't fit. It hits the intake pipe.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You know, but that's one of the things. So once the stock airbox is out of here, there's so much room in here.
Yeah.
Like there's just a ton of room. Now, we didn't talk about it. What suspension are you running?
S3s.
S3s.
Yeah.
And
Close
how do you
friends.
like them?
Probably the best single adjustable coils out there. Swiss springs.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's valved and tuned.
The Swift springs, do they come with them? Do you
They do.
order it? Do you
They
order it
do.
as a custom
They
spring
have
rate?
3 different specs:
Okay.
street track, and full track.
Okay.
And there's going to be a difference in spring rates.
Okay. And this is a full track setup.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
16K all around.
16. Wow. Oh, front and rear.
Yeah, front and rear.
Oh, interesting. I can't remember for the life of me what I had in mind. I ran an Olin setup,
Okay.
and I swapped mine over to Swift springs,
Mm-hmm.
and then because of the way
Sake bombs or no?
I had to go to Sake Bomb
Yeah.
for the lower cups.
Okay.
Because
To get it
once you
lowered.
did that, it would bring it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So the cups actually let me lower it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then it's a really interesting concept because the cups replace, if I remember correctly, they replace the front,
Yeah.
and then the front lower cups then go to the rear,
Yeah.
and then it allows you to, it really
weird.
allows you to dump the car completely. But that's good. So S3s.
Yes.
Okay.
Very affordable. You know, my personal preference. It's kind of one of the best single adjustables out there.
See, but that's awesome information because there's so many trial and error, or there's so many different brands out there
Yeah, wow.
that it's one of those things. It's like, well, what's going to work? Well, what's going to this? Well, unless you talk to an owner that specifically is doing, you know, your car, and then what you want to do in your car, like you don't get that apples to apples comparison. So that's awesome information. Again, we're not sponsored. You know, it's just, and like you said, it's your, you know, the way you drive, it's the
setup.
way you're
Right.
set up, it's the way you like it.
It's a style.
You know, and that's one of those things. You know,
It's mixed with all the little flavors. And
it is. That's
Oh, it is.
that's one of the things that always in a project car and a project build that you have, that makes it your own. That makes it special.
Someone else can say, "Oh, this is not stable for me."
This isn't for me.
Yeah,
this isn't
for me.
this.
I don't
This
like
isn't.
how the car reacts to this. I like my car more loose, or whatever.
Yeah,
That's how it
yeah. So that's great. You got APR front
Cooling plate.
cooling,
Yeah.
Plate, yeah.
and we didn't need the little intake scoop anymore.
No, like this is all cosmetics. Yeah,
It is,
So
it is.
this opening here is made for the air duct, the spin
Yeah.
air duct. Yeah, into the stock air box.
Did you run the stock airbox at all? Because I actually kept my stock airbox.
I did for quite a while actually, until it turned to a more of a track vehicle.
Okay.
So it was this car was my daily driver for 8-9 years, and at the
that's
time,
awesome.
right? I was driving in the rain, and so that's the reason why I kept the
That makes
airbox.
sense.
Yeah. I kept. Did you cut it inside?
Oh,
Did
for
you-
sure.
Yeah.
yeah. So you cut up all the plastic.
So you cut the
inside.
plastic out.
Yeah, and actually dropped a velocity stack, the
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah.
I made it fit in there too.
Wow. Yeah, I did that, and then you put you take part of what you cut out, and you seal the little side chamber because
Yeah.
it has that little chamber to
Yeah,
keep it quiet.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you seal it. You use like Honda Bond or something,
Yeah, basically get all the incoming air from the
Yep.
front of the bumper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept mine. I actually found that, like, for me, when we go out, because if you guys don't know, like, if you go out to Button Willow or one of those tracks, like now in June, it's literally 110 degrees out. Like at what 11 a.m., 10:30 in the morning.
You're lucky.
So like, yeah, exactly. And so I found that for like heat soak, that was my concern.
It was.
You know,
yeah. As
and that-
soon as you're idling anywhere, it's bogging out as soon as you give it any type of gas or throttle.
Yeah. So underneath the hood, otherwise we're pretty much stock. We're good otherwise. We do have a catch can, right? And a little tiny battery.
Shirai.
Yeah.
And a little
it's
tiny
it's
battery.
a motorcycle battery.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I noticed when I saw him pop the hood. I'm like, that's a motorcycle battery.
So this battery is what, like 2.5 pounds?
Yeah,
like,
about 3 pounds. Yeah.
And then, do you find that you drive it enough, or do you have to keep it on a tender?
That battery's like 4 years old.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Very impressive.
Yeah.
It has a great lifespan right now. So the first couple of years, I would drive it once a week, and it was totally fine.
Okay.
But for the past couple of months, I got to at least start it once a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool,
But
man.
I'm still charging pretty well. I still get 13 volts.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. Anything else that we're missing that we haven't talked about that we want to give to
brake
the?
setup in the rear.
Oh yeah. I mean, one thing if you haven't noticed is I don't have a BBK.
Yeah. Look at the rear rotor.
So
Yeah.
so what are you running for brakes?
Factory rotors. Well, obviously, pads, but stock size rotors.
So
So the first brake outside of rotors and lines and fluid, I actually upgraded my rear brakes before the front.
interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. So you have vented two piece.
Yeah, so they're Urge Designs
Yeah.
2-piece rotors.
Okay.
So
And did you just do that for cost effectiveness of replacing the rotor?
The brake
weight?
system on S2000 actually suffers in the rear over the front.
Yeah.
So if you're track guys coming down a long straight, coming in hot on your brakes, if you feel any type of squirreliness from the rear, it's actually not anything else but your brakes. It's the heat.
So now
the rear.
the rears
So with the
are the
OEM,
rears typically not vented, right?
yes, the OEM S2000 rear rotors are not vented.
They're this little solid.
There's no veins.
There's this, yeah.
It's
so
a
there's
solid piece
the little,
rotor.
and
Yeah.
that makes no sense.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was a cost effective or a weight thing at the time.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So these are vented.
They are
And-
vented 2-piece rotors, and
Okay.
I'm still running, the factory front vented
Now-
rotors.
now,
But the only, honestly, I would love BBKs, but I can't find any 17-inch by 10 wheel
That clears?
a BBK that
Yeah.
I really love.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, so for the fronts, there's kind of a cheat to the system, depending on what rotor you get, because you can chew through that rotor and then replace it for free. So
Yeah, the Vato Zone rotors.
I mean, but that's a common thing up here.
It is.
So like your front rotors are relatively inexpensive.
Yes.
Relatively, okay? I mean, you can pay what, $25, $35 for a rotor up front, and depending on if you try and use the cheat code, the cheat code. What pad do you normally like to run?
Project Muse.
Okay.
The Club Racers.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. CR boys.
Yeah.
It's in stock everywhere.
Yeah.
It's easy to find.
It's easy to get a hold of.
I could order on eBay.
You can get them. Yeah,
Anywhere,
that's what I liked about
anywhere.
them.
Right.
So I mean, I ran at the time. I was still into Hawks, and I don't have a problem with Hawks. I'm not saying that I do. I actually liked them because it was the same reason. So cost-wise, it really wasn't expensive. Okay, relative. I could get them. Like, I could order them from Tire Rack if I needed to.
Yeah.
Again, not sponsored by Tire Rack, but like if I got them from Tire Rack, I could literally have them the next day if that's what I needed.
Yeah.
So
and on that topic, I like to mention RPF ones.
RPF ones?
My track setup are RPF ones for the simple reason is if I break or crack or bend a wheel, I could literally order a brand new wheel that same day and have it shipped to my house in 2 days.
You
I'll be ready for another track day.
While you're at the track. While you're at the track, you're like, you know what? I bent a wheel, and then almost by the time you get home, that wheel is on your doorstep
in transit.
Yeah, already there.
Seriously.
Already there.
Yeah.
And that was one of my complications.
Yeah.
Because I went with 949 wheels, and I really loved the weight, the fitment, and everything else. But with 949, I bought the first set immediately. They're like, we have new stock. And I bought a set, and I slept on them, and I was like, oh, no, I'm good. That's all I need. And I was like, wait, if I bend a wheel, I need another set.
You're screwed.
So then at that point, I was like, all right, well, let me get another set. And they're like, we're sold out. And so then I was I was hunting on their page, and they got a return. I bought that single wheel. They got a return blemish wheel, which there really wasn't anything wrong with it. I bought that wheel.
Yeah.
Different color. So then I found somebody that was selling two.
Oh, nice.
And that was the only way I ended up with a full second set.
Yeah.
And then all I did was, I mean, you guys know, you send it out to the powder coater.
Yeah.
And so I had one set that was black and one set that was bronze. And then that also helped me track as I was rotating my tires.
Yeah.
Which set to take with me.
Are you running any of those ball joint things? Those offset ball joints to give you camber or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
I have the extended ball joints, the Buddy Club front ball joints, and the rears I'm running the hard race.
Because I know people will buy
without the extended ball joints, it's really tough to dial in your camber.
You can't get enough camber.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go extended ball joints, you can get up to 4 and 5.
So what do you like to run for camber on yours? I'm kind of interested in that too.
Yeah, so depending on the track. So we have our guru, our alignment guru, which is TrueWorks. Not a sponsor.
Yes, again. But
so
like literally,
Rob is a good friend, right?
Yes.
We've known each other a long time, and quite honestly, he's the only guy that ever touches my car. So depending on the track, more tighter tracks like Streets of Willow, I shoot the camber up a bit, 3.6, 3.7.
Okay.
Square. But if I go to a more high-speed track like Chuckwalla, I go about 3.3 to 3.5.
Interesting.
Yeah. Toe, I try to keep it in the zero range, in the neutral range, but streets is kind of a bit of a more of a complicated alignment spec.
It is.
Yeah, just because it's so tight.
So it's funny because it was the same thing. She works like I did. So real quick. Okay. I did the lower control.
Yeah.
The extended.
Yeah, the ball joint.
And I did it the night before a track day. You know how project cars go, okay? Yeah. I did it the night before a track day, drove the car to the track. I did okay. Afterwards, I was like, damn, I need an alignment, because you do.
Yeah.
I went and saw Robert. Robert looked at it, and as nice as a guy he is, he's awesome, okay? He looked at me and was like, why the hell did you go to the track and not come see me first?
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, man, I like literally, you know how it is, a project car, I did it the night before, I did this. And he's like, next time you call me. He's like, one, this isn't installed correctly.
That was that.
Like,
I know exactly what you did.
You know exactly what I did. He's like, this isn't installed correctly. Two, And he showed me the alignment sheet, everything else. He's like, your stuff is so far off. He's like, you're nowhere near getting the numbers you should have been getting. So he fixed me up. He set my alignment. One of the things I love about him is you literally tell him, this is my track day, this is where I'm going, okay? And that's it. He dials you in with this expertise that I can't stress enough how important an alignment is. A lot of people skip this and they don't understand that.
And what is it, a couple $100?
It's a dead horse for me too, man. I mention it all the time. If you're serious about your lap times, your driving habits, you gotta dial in your car with alignment every time.
it's as much as you change brake pads, as much as you change tires, literally you should be doing an alignment that often, especially on a track car.
Yeah.
You know, a daily driver, sure, whatever. Okay, a daily driver,
yeah.
I don't condone it, but whatever, okay? Like on a daily driver. You don't see uneven tire wear, who cares?
They're gonna be like, oh, Kana said don't get an
Yeah,
alignment.
Kana said don't get an alignment, okay? You know, every time you hit that pothole, go get an alignment.
Or a curb.
Or a curb, thanks. But no, on a track car, it's seconds. It's seconds around the track.
Yeah.
And for me, that is just craziness. Absolutely craziness. Because I picked up, okay, so Robert did my alignment. I went back to the track, and I honestly was a second and a half faster around the track because he dialed me in.
It's a comfort. You're comfortable driving, pushing your car.
Everything drives better. Everything feels better. It's the same thing when I added downforce to the back of my car, and then I added the gurney flap to the back of it. I was like, wait, my car is so much more stable. My turn-in is so much faster. My everything. So yes, we're beating a dead horse on alignments, but they are that important, okay? And I'm sure there's some regular alignment shops out there that can give you a good one, but find your race guy, okay? So like we were saying with Robert, I literally would come into him and say, I have a track day. And he's like, cool, what track? I would tell him what track I was. I would sit in the driver's seat. He would do his magic, and that car drove perfect. Anything that was at fault was my fault from there on, okay? That's it.
Right.
Like that's it. And
you know, minimize the errors, anything about the car. You know, if you're not getting any faster, it's the driver.
It's right here.
Yeah.
It's right here. And that's why I sold my car. That's it. You knew I was going to say that.
Yeah.
You knew I was going to say that.
So that's it for like suspension, huh?
Yeah.
Arms, bushings, all stock. Rear toe.
Yeah, I'm still running rubber bushings. Okay. That's actually one of my next big upgrades, next big moves is going spherical bearings all around.
Man.
Yeah.
But what's amazing to me, okay, and I was in the same place as this, a lot of the stock Honda parts, especially on an S2000, you retain. You don't have to swap them all out.
No.
Okay, now as stuff wears out, that's when you do it.
Yeah.
You're like, cool, I wore this out. Okay, spherical this. Oh, I wore this out. Okay, let's do that.
Surprisingly, the bushings are pretty damn, they survived. You know,
Yeah.
there's only one bushing that kind of has a very small tear in it. It's a front compliance bushings.
That's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the weird one.
Yeah,
It's the weird one.
But outside of that, you know, my OCA bushings are totally fine.
Subframe, you have spoon rigids, right?
Yeah, spoon rigid collars. I don't know if it did anything.
So I've had them.
This is my first spoon part.
So I have installed them in every one of my serious cars. Every car that went to the track, I put them in. And it's funny because I had the same comment. I'm like, but I'll tell you this, okay? When you go to do your alignment spec, pre and post, your alignment spec is different.
Agreed.
Your alignment spec is different.
Yeah, it doesn't get out of spec it's difficult to get out of spec with the colors.
And it just, if you
your
guys
alignment
don't,
guy will appreciate you.
It does, yeah. And if you guys don't know, I mean, the spoon rigid collars, what they do is there's just a bunch of play.
Yeah.
In your subframe bolt that goes up and goes through everything, and like literally the bolt can move around like this, and it allows so much movement of the subframe. When you put the collars in, the collars fill that space, and the bolt literally has nowhere else to go.
It's like an
you know,
alignment dog.
yeah, it just zeroes everything in. So, man, I really appreciate this. Thank you so much. You guys, I know, I mean, you guys are here, so I know you love this car, okay? What we want to talk about is, what do you guys think? Is it sacrilege to go to a K? Or is that just, again, the progression? You know, it's just, that's how life is.
I get that general question all of the time.
Yeah.
Is it worth it to go K series?
Yeah.
And the only rebuttal to that is, what do you do with your vehicle? What do you do with your S2000?
After that.
Is it a weekend car? Is it a daily? Is it a fun car? If I get that answer, I would immediately say stick with an F.
Right. Well,
the only time I recommend a K series if it's a track car.
There you go.
That's where you get the benefits. Like the long block is $1,000.
I mean,
like 9 of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys, let me know what you think about that. You guys, as always, I appreciate you. Drop your comments. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this fully race prepped, beautiful S2000, the K swap that's in it, and one more thing that we need to talk about real quick is we need to talk about my man's fresh cut.
Shut the heck up.
Okay, look at this fresh cut he got. Look at this shape. Okay, you guys have seen the progression. You saw the hair come down to here. You saw the beard come down to here. I want that comment. What do you guys think? What do you guys? You like this, or you want him to grow? Or you want him to grow it back out? All right, you guys. Thanks for hanging out to the end. Thank you so much. We thank you for all your support and everything else. We'll keep doing this, keep having fun, and thanks for everything.
Shout out to the owner, though. Honestly, making time to come out here. Because this video wouldn't happen without the owner and his journey with this car.
Definitely.
Because I don't have a K-swapped S2.
Okay. Thanks.
Peace.